Welcome to Living English at the Houston Public Library, a 25-lesson language learning program that focuses on how you work, play, and interact with others in your everyday life. Hello, my name is Ryan Bowden from the Houston Public Library. Welcome to Living English at HPL. Today, we're going to be talking about education. And since you're watching this video, this is probably something that you value as much as I do. So let's get started. Before we get to our main vocabulary today, as we usually do, I'd like to talk about two terms that you've probably been hearing a lot lately. The first is online instruction, and the second is in-person instruction. So what's the difference? Well, online instruction is when you take classes on the internet. This has become much more common. There is no face-to-face instruction when we talk about taking classes online. So it looks a lot more like this, right? So you can take this, at a distance. Sometimes it's distance education can also be used, right? In-person instruction is more traditional type of learning. So students attend class in a classroom with their instructor and their peers. They can still use technology, like these people are doing down here. But this, like I said, is a more traditional type of learning. So if you hear these two terms, that's generally what they're talking about. Okay, let's jump into our main vocabulary and talk about some people. So we're talking about education. Who is involved in education? Well, first, the student, the person who is doing the learning, and the teacher. The teacher is usually the one who is delivering the instruction. So we have these cute little kids over here getting some instruction from their teacher. Isn't that great? Now, you also might hear the terms counselor or advisor. These are going to be much more common when we talk about higher education, like college, but certainly you can have them elsewhere. So what's the difference between these two terms? They're very similar. Well, counselors generally are going to deal with things like time management or career planning or other issues going on in your life that may affect the outcome of your education. Whereas an advisor is going to focus more on academic planning and helping you select your courses, right? And we'll talk more about what a course is versus a class in just a second. So that's the basic difference, but they are really similar terms. Okay, so when we are doing some learning, where are we doing it? Well, we could do it in a class or a classroom. Now this might be a bit confusing because the word class can refer to a single meeting that occurs of a bunch of people who are discussing a topic. Or it can refer to the people in the class. The teacher may say, "Class, please sit down," right? And they're talking to the people there. Now the place where it is happening is going to be the classroom, right? That is the place where the class meets. Okay. Now, what is a course? A course is a series of classes surrounding the same topic, right? So up here we have a course on basic nutrition. So if you enroll in this course or sign up for this course, then you are going to go to a number of classes and talk about issues in nutrition, which we've discussed, I believe, in a previous video. So you're going to have to register or to enroll in this class, which just means to sign up. And that's usually done online. So perhaps you've registered for one of our ESL classes here at the library. I hope you do. And then finally, once you are enrolled in your course and getting ready to go to class, you are going to have to study, right? And that is reviewing the material so you can learn, right? Sometimes that takes a textbook, like this woman is using down here. You could use your computer as well, right? There are a number of different ways to study. Okay. Now, different levels of education. We're going to focus on some basic levels of education today. There are others as well, but elementary school. This is for small children. So in the United States, usually that is grades 1 through 5 for elementary school. So we have these small children sitting on the floor over there with their teacher. Middle school, also sometimes called junior high school. That's typically grades 6 through 8. That can vary, right? Grades 6 through 8 in the United States, middle school or junior high school. Then there's high school, which is usually grades 9 through 12, grades 9 through 12. And then after high school, you might choose to go to a college or university, right? That's post-high school. The big difference here, usually we describe a college as a smaller institution and a university as a larger institution, but there are exceptions to that rule, okay? So college, university is just that education post-high school. All right. So we're taking our class. You may have an assignment outside of class. So work that must be done outside of class, that is homework, right? Usually we say it is work you do at home, like this young woman is doing here. It looks like she's at her dining room table getting an assignment done, but certainly you can do it wherever you like, I suppose, at a library, maybe. You may have to use a textbook for your homework, right? A textbook, it's going to be a large book that deals with one particular subject like English or history or mathematics, right? Like some of these guys that we see up here. Once you've done your homework and used your textbook to study, you may have to take a test or an exam, which is designed to see if you understand all of the material. These are not very fun, but certainly a test or an exam, an examination, exam is short for examination, to review what you know. And then finally, you'll probably get a grade. Now, the most common way to get a grade in the United States is with lettered grades. So an A being the best, and then a B, and a C, and a D. And if you get an F, that is not good. You're going to want to try again. But there are other grading scales as well. Small children sometimes get checks or an X to indicate they did not do well, or a satisfactory for good, and a not satisfactory for bad. So there are a number of different ways to get grades. Okay, so unfortunately, not all education is free, and you have to pay for it. Tuition is the money that you pay in exchange for your education. So colleges and universities will charge tuition, as will private schools. So private schools will charge tuition, public schools will not, right? And it can be a lot of money for tuition. So if you're paying tuition, you may need to apply for something called financial aid. And this is to help you pay your tuition. It could come in the form of a scholarship, which is great. Scholarship you typically receive because of your performance, because of good grades. The word scholarship also means just being very intelligent and getting good grades, right? So scholarship can just mean that. But if you get a scholarship, that means you're getting money in exchange for your good grades and working hard. You may have to apply for a loan. This is money that you have to pay back. So they will give you money, but once you complete your education, you have to pay back that loan, and that can be quite a bit of money. Or you can get a grant. A grant is typically given by a government or an institution, and that money does not have to be paid back, right? So it's more similar to a scholarship in that regard. All right, so what about when you finish, when you complete your education? Well, you might get a degree, and a degree just says that you finished a complete course of education. So it's the end of the process, right? You have completed all of your classes, all of your courses, and now you are done. And you may receive a diploma for completing this degree. That is a piece of paper that indicates you completed your degree. It may have some fancy fonts on it and a seal, which is very nice. So you'll get a diploma. Or you might get a certificate. A certificate is usually given out if you complete one course or just a few courses on a specific topic. So maybe a first aid course, right? You take a first aid course and you receive a certificate saying that you can perform first aid. Or it could be a number of other things. And then finally, there's graduation. This is the celebration where you receive your diploma or your certificate, and you might get to wear a cap and gown. That's a lot of fun. There'll be music, perhaps, and all kinds of fun things. So graduation's a lot of fun. So now that we've looked at all those vocabulary terms, let's try to select the correct sentence that we see up here. So up here, from 1 or 2, which one is correct, using the correct vocabulary, 3 or 4, which is using the correct vocabulary, and 5 or 6, which is using the correct vocabulary. I'll give you a moment, go ahead. All right, here we go. For this one, I just registered for my fall courses. That's going to be correct. You wouldn't register for your homework. I wouldn't want to register for homework, but certainly you can register for your fall courses. So that's going to be correct. There you go, just like that, register for fall courses. And then down here for 3 and 4, I took an online course and received a certificate of completion. So I took one course and I received a certificate showing I did it, right? You wouldn't take an online course and receive a graduation, right? You might have a graduation or go to graduation, but you typically wouldn't receive that, right? And then finally, when I am finished with my degree, I will have to pay back my student loans, unfortunately. Yes, you might have to pay back those student loans. You will not have to pay back a scholarship. That money is given to you, whereas loans you must pay back, right? Okay, so that's unfortunate. So today we're going to talk about simple future tense, which is how we describe something that is both beginning and ending in the future. It's a really easy way to talk about something that has not happened yet. Now, this can either be positive or it can be negative. Let's take a look. So for positive, what we need is the subject plus is going to plus a verb. Or we could use the subject plus will plus the verb. What do I mean by this? Well, in our example sentence here, Ryan is going to film a video. So Ryan is our subject, and to film is our verb, and you'll notice we use is going to right there. We could replace that with will. We could say Ryan will film a video, and that would also be correct. Those are both positive, simple future statements. Now let's talk about the negative. So that's subject plus is not going to plus the verb, or subject plus will not plus the verb. So Dyra will not help. So Dyra is the subject, help is the verb. Or Dyra is not going to help, right? She's being negative. So let's have a little practice. Let's change the sentences below to the future tense. Dyra applied for a scholarship. We could either say, Dyra is going to apply for a scholarship, or Dyra will apply for a scholarship. These both indicate she will do this in the future. Helen went to her graduation. Helen is going to go to her graduation, or Helen will go to her graduation. And finally, Anna did not study for her exam. Ooh, that's not good. Anna will not study for her exam. Anna is not going to study for her exam. I hope she does well. So you can try these on your own. So there are 3 sentences here. Let's change these to the future tense. Go ahead. All right, let's see how we did. Roberto did not complete his homework. Roberto is not going to complete his homework. Or Roberto will not complete his homework. Not good. Edgar skipped his history class. Edgar is going to skip his history class. Edgar will skip his history class. Both would be correct. And then finally, Jennifer received an A on her English exam. Great job, Jennifer. Jennifer will receive an A on her English exam, or Jennifer is going to receive an A on her English exam. All right, well, I hope you got all of those, and I hope you understand the simple future tense. That is all we have for today. I hope to see you back here soon. Thank you so much.